guys. So I've decided that today's the day I'm going to talk about my experience with being laid off. I'm going to try to do this in one take. So if there's going to be a couple of awkward silences or me thinking, just understand that I'm not trying to waste too much time reshooting and whatever else. Okay, so it's been, I believe, 2 months since I was laid off from my previous company, and honestly, I've had enough time to reflect, and I've come to terms with it. Obviously, 2 months, that's enough time, but in general, I have come to understand my shortcomings and where I could have improved and maybe even been a lot more proactive. And also, I have learned some lessons, and I wish to share that with you guys. So maybe you could use this to help your own current situation. As we all know, the job market is not the greatest right now, and although as of recent, I've actually started getting some hit, thankfully, after like a month and a half of basically silence. It was very scary at the beginning, not because I was completely, scared of never getting another opportunity, because we're in a first world country, and opportunities come. It's basically economics. It goes up and down. The chart goes up and down. People retire, so there's always going to be new opportunities, even if there might be temporary shortages in the job market. Overall, I strongly believe that job markets do recover from whatever extreme situations or turbulence it might face. So, yeah. Going back to my previous role, 2 years prior, I stayed at that company for, I believe, almost a year and a half. And my original job hunt to get that job was a completely different experience. I had quit the job prior, got a job at a dealership, which I know is not really the most prestigious job, but got the job, stayed there for 3 weeks, while I was going through my previous employer's hiring process. Sold 6 cars. I was good at the job, but it's just the dealership life. That's another story. Dealership life is just not for me. I'd gone through other job opportunities where I worked crazy hours. I just didn't want to do it again. And initially when I started my previous position, right off the bat, I sensed that my position was almost like it was a test. I was going to be the only purchaser for that procurement guy for that city, for the city I'm in. And it was a new position, brand new. And right off the bat, I think my first 2 to 3 months at the company, I couldn't justify my pay. And my manager kept telling me it's going to get busy, blah, blah, blah. And it did get busy over the summer, but every company gets busy over the summer. It's about what you're doing over the entire scope of your tenure, right? And also how much you're generating for the company. Because if you're busy, let's say 4 to 6 months out of a year with a company, it's very difficult to be a positive, to have a positive return on USD investment. Very difficult. And I have business acumen, so I do understand that wholeheartedly. And I was never at peace with that. I hated not being a very crucial member of the team. I hated being like an extra position instead of a crucial position, right? So as the year progressed, the summer was good. I was relatively busy. I was pretty busy, just regular work days. And then come winter again, same idea. I am literally counting ceiling tiles, it was pretty hard. It was very disheartening because I came from being a very, very productive person at my previous role before this one, that one, and coming to this company it was more corporate. It was a much larger business, and it was one of those companies where if your department is not busy, your department is not busy. There's no cross, utilization of staff. You're stuck with your, lack of work, and that just magnifies to management that you're just a cost, a liability, right? And my biggest goal with that company was to try to, gain as much experience and professional experience in a big company as possible. I would have loved to stay there for 3 years, get a solid base, and then move my career onwards. But it was cut short because of, things that were unfortunate. I don't even blame my manager. I don't blame my manager, because every time we had meetings, it was the same thing. I'm like, yeah, keeping standard busy, but nothing crazy. Could use some extra work. And he always told me, yeah, I'm getting no complaints from your project managers. Everything's great. No problem there. But at the back of my mind, I just knew that he sees my, my timesheets. He sees how much work I do. And around the time around end of the year, I decided to take on some more roles, which was helping out in the back office, which is the warehouse. I did that. It was good. It helped me, balance between the being not busy on my current role and just helping out with the receiving and whatnot, which is still under my own umbrella because I was in procurement. So that helped out a little bit. But now I believe it was a situation where now you're utilizing someone that's pretty expensive to do things that a much more cheaper employee can achieve. And that's not good again, because the company looks at it more monetary wise. So fast forward to this year, I look at our worksheet, not our worksheet, sorry. We kept our projects on an Excel sheet. I look through our Excel sheet and all I'm seeing is bid preparation, awaiting award. Even the field guys, when they meet me in the back office, they're talking about how they're not as busy, and alarms start going off in my head. But I'm like, as much as I want to leave, I just need to get to 2 years. If I can make it till the summer, it's obviously going to get busy again. And we had just had a town hall meeting where the company had told, the entire staff that although revenue went up, the margins significantly decreased. That's another bad sign. As soon as you hear that from upper management, like the C-suite, just know something's about to happen. There's going to be a shakeup, and that is somewhat exactly what happened. So so let's fast forward to my actual day of being laid off. I come into the office, everything's all right. Oh, let me rewind a little bit. So before I was officially laid off, I was also helping out with bid preparation and also doing the rental equipment and stuff like that. All of a sudden, which was a fault, I don't know if it was my manager or the company as a whole, they just kept on hiring unnecessary, I won't say unnecessary, but like just positions that would ultimately just take work out of the entire, department. All of a sudden, they hired an estimating purchaser, like sole estimating purchaser, then went on to hire again an equipment coordinator. Right there, I think 25% of my workday was just taken away. And now I was just left to materials and subcontractors, which ultimately I felt also added to me being let go eventually. So fast forward back to my layoff day. I come into the office, everything's cool, still not busy, Then a couple days prior, my manager, he was in a different city, he had called to say that he would be in the city conducting some business, that he would be in our office. The day he shows up, I see my manager, he comes in. I have no idea at this point. And he calls me as soon as he walks to my desk, he calls me up. I was like, oh no. They literally caught me lacking, because I had no idea. I mean, I had a suspicion that I at that point, I was already set that I started looking for a new job. I had already started working on my resume. Ironically, I had just asked my my buddy and my sister to send me their resumes, because I just wasn't as confident in my current resume's quality. Literally, I could send you a screenshot. Literally a day before I got laid off, I had asked for those inspirations. And calls me to that office. He sits me down and he says, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go. We thought things would pick up, but as you know, things still haven't, and we're going to have to terminate your contract. That feeling when this is the first time ever I've gone laid off, fired, whatever you want to call it. That feeling is like none other. You just have this like stun in your face. And although I understood and I wasn't necessarily as surprised, it still was a shock. It still was a shock. No one wants to get let go. And when I got home, my girl was in the house. We just our place we live in right now, we had just bought that place. And the crazy part is that my previous employer helped me get that place, because he needed a lot of documentation from them in order to qualify for the mortgage. So they had just helped me get the place and laid me off after 2 months of taking possession. But thankfully, that's another thing. You got to be smart with what you buy. You buy. You buy under your approval, way under approval, something you're comfortable buying, and try your best to get it under market value. Okay? And that's exactly what I did. So I wasn't too stressed. Obviously, it was a shock, because like the first time I ever had a mortgage. I always had just regular rentals, But pack my stuff, the walk of shame, get back home. And like I was reflecting, but also I was sad. I was definitely sad, because that company was phenomenal. I really hoped things would have worked out with them, but ultimately it's business. It is business. I love capitalism. I'm like anyone else, and I've also been higher up in a different company, and I understand how things work. And if you gotta take the emotions out of things in order to succeed in business. If something's not working, it's not working. And you got to fix it sooner rather than later, Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about, the process after being laid off, post layoff, if you may. So thankfully, I am very, my background, while I was in university, I was in construction. So I do know a lot about, I won't call myself a full-on handyman, because I don't have a trade. But I'm very, very construction savvy. So like I'm able to make money doing things that other people wouldn't necessarily want to do. That's what I found. I found out about this app called TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit, with my previous employers, my older, much older employer, which I kept good relations with, him and TaskRabbit and employment insurance, all three joined, has basically helped me make, like, EI was enough to cover my monthly expenses, employment insurance. Then the rest was just the cherry on top. So all three of them were able to, extend my to allow me not to even, decrease my standard of living. I was able to, I'm still able to live life the way I want to. I'm not stressed about money. Bills are paid, girl's happy, life is good. And now, I just got the courage to talk about this, but I just got done with a couple of interviews. I think they went pretty well. One is the same exact thing I was doing prior, and the other one is in my field. However, it's a lot more specific, and it's for public organizations, not the government. It's for a university, public organization, which is going to be way more secure, way more chill, and just the benefits are just unreal. So that's obviously the company I want to work for. And I had a third interview with real estate development group, and it's a much smaller organization, and so far they've done a few unprofessional things that just strikes me as a red flag, like unnecessary what's it called, rescheduling, just stuff like that, and just not understanding their own schedules. Like, how would you tell me that you thought the interview date was this day when it clearly states in the email you sent me that it was another day? Just little things like that. Then having doing that interview, then the secondary interview, you having to reschedule because the project manager I was supposed to interview with all of a sudden got busy. One time, no big deal. Twice, that's a pretty high red flag. So I don't think I'm going to take them as serious. But I'm going to keep you guys in the loop. I'm hoping that I get one of these jobs. I get a good offer. But yeah, keep me in your prayers, guys. It's been tough, but it's been also very calming. I got 2 months off, bare minimum. Let's look at it that way. I got 2 months off. That's not bad. Not a lot of people get this kind of opportunity, and thankfully I'd already bought my house before this happened, which is another plus, right? It's a huge plus for me. Oh well, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are able to understand that you're not the only one. It happens to all of us, and at the end of the day, companies are always going to lay off, and other companies are always going to be hiring. It's just business. One company gets a big contract, even if it's temporary and you might get laid off right after, you still have a job. Companies lose contracts, you get laid off. It's just up and down, supply and demand. Oh well. All right, until next time, guys. Hopefully I did this YouTube thing pretty freaking good, because I might be doing some more videos. I might be posting some fun construction things that I've done, and hopefully you guys like those.